everyone. This is Michelle Brantner coming to you from the Marcellus School District. For those of you that don't know me, I am the Superintendent of Schools here. My purpose for coming to you today is to talk a little bit about the board's action on Monday evening, September 19th, in regards to the building project that we've been working on. So we currently have come up with a scenario that we hope will move the building project forward. So to give you a little bit of background, probably most of you realize that we hit some snags last spring when the bids for the project came back higher than expected. What we ended up having was a situation where there was not enough money approved for the project to complete all the work as scoped and designed. So at that point, we started doing some work to cut back on some of our scope items and also to value engineer some other items. We received some additional information late August, early September, that we had actually requested some additional estimates be done just to be certain that we had a really clear picture of how much people in the industry were actually thinking it would cost to implement the project. When those estimates came back, they were actually even higher than the bid day numbers, which again led us to go back to the drawing board just to make sure that the scope contained within the project was implementable with the money that either we had on hand or we would be requesting to have on hand. So that led us to making the decision on the evening of September 19th to go back out to the community and ask for them to approve the expenditure of some additional monies so that we could actually complete the project as it is currently scoped with the items that had been planned by and large in the last capital project vote. So just to help you understand a little bit, when the community votes on a building project, you're actually voting on an expenditure amount. So you are giving the school district permission to spend a certain amount of money for the purpose of renovation and reconstruction. So back in March of 2015, the amount of money that was approved was $14,844,078. We now believe that in order to complete the work that we have planned, it will cost $17,533,482. So that leaves us with a need for an additional $2,689,404 to complete that work. So there's a process that you go through once you have a building project number to determine what will be what we call the local share. So the local share of any project, basically you come to after applying a mathematical formula that accounts for how much of the project is aidable and how much money do we get back from the state refunded in what's called building aid. So in terms of how much of the project is aidable, we know that about 98% of this project is aidable. That means the work that's planned is something that the state will reimburse for. In addition, we know that our building aid rate, the amount that the state will reimburse us, is 82.3 cents on every dollar, or 82.3%. So just to make the math simple, for every dollar that we spend, we know that 82 cents of it will be refunded to us, and we basically have to come up with the 18-cent portion. That's what we call the local share. So taking a look at the additional money needed to complete the project as originally, or close to as originally designed as possible, we know that with a local share amount of $520,292, we can actually complete the project because the rest of it will be reimbursed from the state. So we've taken a look at some of our reserve accounts and believe that we have $520,292 that we can comfortably use to offset that local share. So what that means is that the referendum will be asking permission for us to expend the additional money, but it will have no additional tax impact on the community because we already have the local share set aside and can leverage that money to complete the work. So that referendum will actually take place on Tuesday, November 15th, and there will be a public hearing, which is one of the requirements that we have in New York State, on Monday, November 7th at 6 p.m. And prior to that, we'll actually do a little bit more detailed public information meeting on Tuesday, October 25th, beginning at 6:30. In addition, I'll be doing additional videos in a series, if you will, so that I can get a little bit deeper into the scope of the project and also fill you in on some of the other things I mentioned, such as value engineering, what does that mean, and what items were value engineered. So hopefully you will check back on our website and Facebook page for not only videos but also any corresponding articles. Thanks so much. If you have questions, don't hesitate to give us a call, and have a great day.